Right, another short video, I promise. Got the top wishbone done and the upright finally at the front. Got its first showing, it's great. It's another happy day, beavering away late last night. So obviously camber, self-adjustable or infinitely adjustable camber point now, so you can just undo the front lock nut, untwist the back, comes forward, comes back, and then just simply lock up that. Still need to come back a little bit, it's quite that far. There we go. Let's dial that to half a degree quickly. Lose my point. It's about 0.3 of a degree. Okay, a bit more. Excuse me for a second. That's, there we go. Dial it back to 0.8 of a degree, near enough. Now this isn't going to be a permanent feature. This is something I want to do basically so I can adjust obviously camber and caster now, because this is a left and right handed threaded turnbuckle. Camber and caster will be adjustable on the car, so I can stop, pull it into pit lane, have a quick play with this, send it back out and see what the driver feedback is going to be like. So whether they like it more or less, blah blah blah. We can dial in more static camber, even though this setup now gains quite a bit more camber on turning than previously. So as if we, let's present setup. I can sort of zoom in on this. We have what, 0.65 of a degree camber there. We start rotating the axis. We've already got one. At 2 degrees camber. And about the limit of the steering is probably about 3 degree camber on the front wheel. At probably maximum wheel turning. Now, I don't know what it was previously, but I'm guessing it was considerably less than that on full turning. So, whether I need to run a static camber of say half a degree closer to vertical, which obviously for cruising and for quite a lot of North American roads is going to be quite handy to have the front tyres and not too much camber on it, so not wear the inside out, but it's going to gain quite a bit more camber on turning straight away. So I don't need to worry about trying to dial camber into the wishbones to try and add it by that way. Obviously, when we're coming into bump, bump will gain me a tiny amount more, but I think in roll, we've proved that standard sort of spring rates for this kind of car, the body will roll about 1.5 degrees to 2 degrees max. Stiffer car, you're probably getting down to 1 degree. So if you said stiff car, 1 degree input of steering, 1 degree in there, tail it in, another degree. So you're probably getting about 1.5 degrees camber on the tyre on a stiff suspension with enough input to do like a fast corner. So I'm not losing the camber. I'm keeping the camber on those fast long bends. I'm waffling again, aren't I? Right, yes. So here we are. Anyway, it's in. So yes, I have a turnbuckle in the front suspension, but that will allow me to dial from my 6+ degrees of caster and start bringing it back if I want to. Obviously, you alter the kingpin by altering the static camber. If I've got enough of turning camber just created by the KPI and the caster angle, then I can afford to flatten the wheel up more stationary, and I know it's going to start gaining faster as the wheel rotates. So pretty happy, to be honest. It's not exactly the prettiest of turnbuckle things, but to be honest, once it's all cleaned up, it'll look so good. I haven't got a lock nut for this side. Somebody already spotted, boys, that thread longer. Well, I haven't got a left-handed 5/8 UNF thread lock nut at this point, so that is 50-50 at the moment. Turnbuckle in the middle, but well, that will allow me to move it. The aluminium bushes I've got in here at the moment, which are sort of fake replacement for the rubber joints, obviously won't allow too much adjustment at the moment, but once the rubber joints are in here, once everything's assembled, you can actually bend that quite significantly by 2 or 3 degrees without too much trouble. So I can probably dial the caster probably 2 degrees more and 2 degrees less without too much of a problem. The rod once will flex, so there we go. So first front corner in, which is great. This is actually wrong for the other side. This is wrong because the caliper goes to the back, and I'm not using the Z06 mountings. I'm using the AP mountings, where there's another bracket that bolts basically to here that has a radial mount. So this is actually for the other side. But to make it easy to set this thing up, I basically just used a piece of wood, bolted the piece of wood to the base, bolted the piece of wood to here, dialed in whatever camber I wanted, and then measured here the caster, got the wheel parallel, kept the upright in the exact position, and then built the top wishbone to suit it. I haven't actually done this in digital drawings. I've basically just put the wheel exactly where I wanted it and then built the wishbone to suit. It's about 20,000 different front to back than what the drawings are saying from set offset to here, but like I said before, as long as the wheel's in the correct position, as long as the lengths are correct and the geometry is the same, it doesn't really matter too much if there's a little bit of an inconsistency between left and right, which there isn't at the moment, but better off to get the wheel exactly caster and camber right, and then the lengths of the wishbones are the last thing to keep the geometry done. So yeah, we've finally got a front suspension package now. This is obviously set up at the moment, the height it is now from the base to be at mid-travel in the suspension. We've got 60 mil of bump and 40 mil of droop, so I've put it into 10 mil of bump, which basically runs to be exactly 50-50 in the travel. So that being that, so we can now look at the rod end. Pretty much the rod end is almost in its middle. There's a little bit up, but don't matter. In the middle of its travel, so it's got 50 mil travel up, 50 mil travel down, and the same again for the bottom, which is why we put this one at that weird angle. Well, that weird angle happens to be the caster setup for the moment, so that joint now there is roughly in the middle, as it is that way as well. It's a bit of a bugger to try and notch these when this joint here is that way and that way, but at least it means now those two joints are in as middle as possible. We can actually, there you go, couldn't do that on the previous setup. So that's there for the moment. Okay, see you later.